When you're living this active lifestyle of both running and lifting, then getting your diet right is so crucial. It doesn't matter how hard you train if you aren't eating the right foods to fuel and sustain what you are doing. And this is where I went wrong before. Since then, I've learned that you have to eat the right foods in the right amounts based on what your current goals are. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the different effects that macros have on the body, how much you actually need to be eating, some staple foods that you should include in your diet and foods that you need to remove, as well as the mentality you need to have towards food so you can start eating to achieve your goals. So let's get into it. So we're going to start by talking about macros, and it's not just about how much you eat, but also what you eat. On the surface, it all seems so simple. Protein is for muscle recovery and repair, and fats and carbs are our energy sources. But when you go a little deeper, there's actually a lot more to it, and it's not as simple as it seems. So with protein, for example, to maintain muscle mass, you want to be eating 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight every day. And I feel like this is pretty common knowledge for most people in the fitness space now. But then you also need to consider the source of where that protein comes from. So many people would just look at how much protein is in whatever they're currently eating by grams, but they never consider the actual source of that protein. If you do an online search, you can figure out a food's amino score, and you want to make sure that 70% of the protein in your diet comes from foods that have a score of 0.9 or above. If you want to simplify it, then a general rule of thumb is that animal sources are a better quality source of protein than plant sources. So things like eggs, red meat, chicken, fish, Greek yogurt and whey. These are some of the best protein sources, and this is where the majority of your protein in your diet should come from. Of course, you can be eating some protein sources like peanut butter, for example, but you want to make sure that they don't dominate your diet because you won't be recovering as effectively as you could be. They also should be whole foods. So when you look at the ingredients label, it should just say one thing, like chicken breast, for example. If you look at the back of an ingredients label on some red meat, for example, maybe some bacon, and it says nitrates, then put it back because processed meat is horrible for you. Then there's the whole fats versus carbs, and this is where you need to have a play around based on what your current goals are. So if building a good physique and muscle is your goal and cardio is more of an afterthought, maybe you do an easy run once or twice a week, then a high fat diet might be better optimized for you. It's because a high fat diet promotes fat loss and you're actually utilizing the fat on your body as fuel. When I've been at my leanest and most shredded, it's always when I've been on a high fat diet. The only problem is it does affect your energy levels and performance in the gym and in running. Some of my favorite fat sources are avocados, nuts and peanut butter, as well as oils like coconut, extra virgin olive oil and butter. If you want to build up your strength, or maybe you're a serious runner and you want to improve your running times and get faster, then maybe a higher carb diet is better for you so you can perform at your best. I've recently upped my carb intake and I've noticed a huge change in how I feel when I'm in the gym or when I'm running. And this is probably because my muscle glycogen wasn't as topped up as it could have been. The only thing you need to consider with carbohydrates is that any excess glucose in your system will be stored by the body as fat. So if you want to focus on your physique at the same time, then you really got to get that carb intake perfect. I've generally always preferred a high fat diet. I feel better on it, but currently with the kind of training that I'm doing, it's not optimal. It's better for me to have more carbohydrates. As long as I'm utilizing all those carbohydrates, it's still okay. So there are lots of great carbohydrate sources, but the thing to consider here is that there are fast digesting carbs and slow digesting carbs. So depending what time you're training should determine what carbs you should be eating. So if you've only got an hour or two before you're training, then you want some fast digesting carbs like oats, honey and fruit. However, if you've already got your training out of the way, then you want to be eating some carbohydrate sources that are slow digesting so you can refill that muscle glycogen. So things like pasta, rice, potatoes. So now that you've got an understanding of the macros, you just got to fit that into your daily calorie intake. And the way to figure this out is to go online and do a BMR calculator. So once you know this, you want to eat as close to this number as possible. If you're looking to cut down a bit, then you might eat 100 to 200 calories below this number. If you want to put on a bit of weight, then you eat 100 to 200 calories above. This is just a rough guide. It may need some adjustment or a bit of trial and error. If you're starving, then you might want to increase your calories a little bit. Or if you feel like you're eating too much, you're overeating, then you might want to decrease it. So the final thing I want to talk about here is to eliminate as much ultra-processed foods from your diet as possible. What annoys me the most is when I go online and I see people talking about they still eat crappy foods, but they're in amazing shape and they're still shredded and jacked. But it's like, yes, they are, but they're shredded and jacked in spite of eating all that crap. Don't get me wrong, I like a treat every now and then, but I don't actively encourage it because I feel like it gives people the wrong idea about food. A lot of this stuff that you're eating will affect your health and overall well-being, which will indirectly affect your physique and your performance. The less ultra-processed foods you actually eat, the better your body is at regulating its own appetite. which means you don't even need to track your calories every day or even at all, really, because your body will just tell you when it's hungry. And because you're eating natural whole foods, it will be able to tell when it's full. I only track my calories to make sure that I'm actually eating enough because of how active my lifestyle is. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't need to. The mental approach I like to promote on this channel is that you eat to live, not live to eat. What would you prefer? Natural, fresh, God-given food that's going to provide you with health and vitality, or fake food that's going to sap your physical and mental health? If you could take one thing away from this video, it's to replace as much ultra-processed foods in your diet with fresh, whole ones. If you do this, then everything else will just fall into place. Finally, before I finish, I'll recommend you the book Ultra-Processed People if you really want to go in depth on the kind of foods that you should and shouldn't be eating. But that's everything for this video. If you have any ideas about what you want to see next, then drop a comment below. And if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you.